Hi, everyone. All right, so in honor of Earth Day, which is this Wednesday, April 22nd, our art project is going to be a layers of the Earth landscape picture. All right, here's what you'll need. I have a circle template right here. I have kind of a large bucket, but it's just for a circle template. And I have crayons and colored pencils. I have a black marker. It's kind of a fine tip marker. And I have a pencil. All right, so let's get started. First thing you need is you're going to take your template. I could have used the lid, but I think it's a little easier to use the entire container. And I'm going to trace around this as best in the middle of my paper as I can. But if you don't, that's fine too. All right, then I'm going to set that aside. And that's all we'll need that for. Okay, so this is going to depict our Earth. And what we're going to be doing is we're inside our Earth circle, we're going to have several different environments in one picture. So we're going to have the sky, mountains, hills, trees, sand, and water all in one picture. All right, so we need to kind of denote which is going to be the top half of our picture and the bottom half of our picture. The top half is going to be the mountains and the hills. The middle is going to be the trees, and the bottom is going to be the sand and the water. So what I'm going to do is just kind of by eye, I'm very, very, very like lightly sketching a line horizontally across my picture. This will end up being erased. All right, so my trees are going to go in the center. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a kind of a hill line. It's going to go from the top here down. There we go. And these are my kind of sloping hills. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come from the middle and make another line down like this. And these are going to be my rolling hills. You'll see this in just a minute. Okay, so now if we can actually leave this line right here. So I'm going to start with my trees. So what I'm going to do is, because I have to fit so many layers of things in here, I'm going to show you how you want your trees. Very simple, almost kind of like cartoon like trees. And there's no specific amount that you do, but they do not have to be complicated. Real easy. And you know what? They can be about the same size. You don't really need to worry about anything. And see how they're kind of going up at an angle here, and that kind of makes the picture a little more interesting. All right, so I'm going to get my trees in there. Perfect. Okay, and I have my trees. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my mountains and some other hills right here in the background. So what I'm going to do is I am going to put some more rolling hills kind of here in the back. Kind of going to go down, 1, 2. So we have some rolling hills. All right, so we have part of a rolling hill here, 2 other rolling hills here. So that depicts a different kind of environment. Then I'm going to switch up and make it look like I'm going straight into the mountains. So I'm going to have some kind of tall peaks in here. Some various mountains in my background. I'm going to give them kind of a snow caps on the top up there. All right. So now we already have trees, rolling hills, and mountains. Okay, for the lower half, we need to have sand and water. All right, so I have here, I'm gonna have part of my sand right here, and then I'm going to kind of curve this over here and make a little more of the sand. I'm gonna come down like that. So the sand part's pretty easy. It's just almost an extension of this line that you had right here. All right, now I'm gonna have 2 sets of waves for the water. So for the water, it's pretty easy. Just gonna do a wave. Really, really, really simple wave lines, kind of coming right off the page. And down here, I'm going to make it another set of waves, but it's going to be a little different. We want to make it look a little different right there. There you go. All right. And next thing you're going to do is you're going to grab your black marker, and we're going to outline all this. Okay, we'll be right back. Okay, so before we add our black marker to outline it, we're going to add a little more detail here to kind of make it interesting. All right, so we have our different environments up here. And one of the nice things that will transition well from our hills into our mountains is we're going to add some pine trees here. So I'm just going to do these kind of small, and I'm going to add 1, 2, and maybe 3 in here. I might add 1 over here. They're going to overlap a little bit. See how they're nice and small? And then I'm going to go ahead and I'll erase those areas where it overlapped. Okay, we also want to add some fish in here just so we can, even though it does look like an ocean, we're going to make it look kind of cool in here. So maybe 1 fish, 2 fish, and they don't really have to be very complicated fish. And maybe I'll do 3 fish over here, and then I'm going to add a sea star in here. All right, to make it look pretty cool. And one more thing I'm going to do is add a couple more kind of fun details in here. Okay, and that's it for my details. Okay, now this looks really awesome, having it be all the different environments and kind of like inside our earth shape. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some other things outside. So because this is depicting our earth, I'm going to add kind of a solar system to the outside. So I'm going to make it pretty easy. I'm just going to do a sun. And I want to make it look interesting to color in. So as opposed to just doing some lines, I'm going to give my sun some shape up here. And I'm going to have it going out like this. I'm going to add a planet over here. And I'm going to add some rings to my planet to make it look interesting. Okay, and then I'll end up erasing that overlap right there. I'm going to add a moon in here, and I'm going to have it come off of my page. And if you notice, I'm drawing fairly large. That gives it a really nice balanced look to my picture. I'm going to add some stars over here. And they don't have to be perfect. And then I'm just going to add some swirls around here. Okay. Just to kind of fill up my page. Not too many, but just to give it kind of a good, interesting look to it. And then it will also tie into the swirls in here. Okay, fantastic. All right, the next thing you're going to do is you are going to trace over it with black. And I have kind of one that I'm almost finished working on over here. I'm going to finish just last minute parts tracing over this with black. Okay, and that's what you have there. Tracing over every single line I did in black. And then you're going to erase, go back and erase all your pencil lines in there. I've erased most of them already for the sake of time. And all right, now we're going to start coloring it in. Now you can use a mixture of crayons and color pencils. I will probably go with crayons for my background, but in my kind of solar scene in the background. But here I'm going to concentrate on colored pencils because we're using a fairly small piece of white paper, like just 8.5 by 11. And so, and I really like the way that the colored pencils look. So I'm going to start at the top. You're welcome to start anywhere you want, but I'm going to start at the top and I'm going to start coloring it in. And I'm going to do my sky. Now, because I'm doing my sky blue, I want to make sure that I use a nice kind of contrasting color right here. I could do my mountains purple, but I think what I'm going to do is just kind of take them and do them brown. I'm just going to do some really regular environment colors instead of making it super colorful, but you're welcome to choose any colors you want. And a fun idea might be to really switch it up. Maybe you want to use kind of a lighter brown for some of the mountains so they don't look like they're all exactly the same color. And just like we do in class, you can mix your colored pencil colors together. So I'm going to color in my mountains. Perfect. Do all that, and I'm going to leave my tips of them white because they're snow-capped mountains. Make it look really neat. And I can go back and I can add some other colors in a minute. I can do that. Okay, before I do my rolling hills, I know that I'm going to use a green for those. I'm going to use kind of a lighter green for that. So I think what I might end up doing is taking a crayon because I have like a darker green crayon, and I'm going to color in my trees. darker green. If you have a darker green colored pencil, which I do somewhere, but not right here at my disposal. There we go. And then what I'm going to do is take my lighter green colored pencil and color in my rolling hills. And I think it's nice to kind of mix up the crayon and the colored pencil as well, to kind of mix those mediums together. It ends up looking really nice. I'm coloring really carefully so it's all in there. Okay, now here we kind of have a mid-range of colors. So what I'm going to do is I might use a different color of colored pencil, because here's what's going to happen is you have green trees, green rolling hills, and all of a sudden you're going to have green for the tops of the trees. So you want it to look a little bit different here. So I might take a little bit lighter crayon here and kind of get in there and color very carefully. All right, we're going to get in there and color those. And I'm going to use this for my trees. And I'm going to keep coloring and we'll be right back. Okay, so I've just finished coloring in the final touches of my background, but let me go back and I want to show you exactly what I did here. So after we colored the mountains and the rolling hills, I moved on to the trees. And what I really want to make sure is that the colors of my trees are distinguished from the hills, so it's not all the same color. So what I did is I went in and I kind of combined some greens in here, some darker and lighter greens to kind of make the trees stand out. All right, now to have the difference between the trees and the hills and my sand, I was using two different colors. I actually used kind of this mustardy, kind of harvest gold as it's colored pencil here. I used a little bit here, and I used yellow for my sand. But what I'm going to do is I like to kind of combine the colors to make it a little richer instead of just having one single colored pencil color, which you can do, but I just think it makes it a little bit richer when you add a second color on top of there to kind of give it a little more depth. Okay, and I wanted to kind of switch up my colors here with the ocean. And so I used actually a turquoise, kind of a crayon for my ocean. And then I went back to a blue colored pencil. But I kind of like how this color up here for that blue, and it will tie it in nicely. So again, I'm going to layer my blues so I have it look a little more interesting and a little richer than just one single color. Now it almost gives a little bit of a kind of a violet purple blue kind of goes in here. All right. Perfect, so we've got that in there. And I colored my fish in red. I really want my fish and my sea star to kind of pop out of the paper and really look different from the rest of my picture. Okay, then I used kind of a combination of crayons and colored pencils for my solar scene. So I did some yellow crayon for my stars. I'm gonna leave my moon white. I could color it in yellow if you want to do that. You could do that too. I left it white. I did my planet, kind of some bright colors here, some purple and some orange to kind of make it pop out. And again, I combined some colors on my sun here. I used a really pretty yellow, and then I kind of layered on top of it a reddish orange colored pencil as well. All right, now, so for the background, because this is outer space, you want it to be black. Now, you can either use a gray crayon or a black crayon. Either one that you pick is fine. I highly suggest that you do it very lightly as opposed to coloring it really dark, because when you color it dark, it kind of gives you a little bit of a hand cramp and it takes forever to do it. Okay, so I did black, and I just did it very, very, very lightly across because I don't want to cover up all my, my details there. All right, so now you've just created a really great layers of the earth landscape picture. We've incorporated lots of different environments, which kind of celebrates the earth. And we have our earth in the center with all of our solar system kind of surrounding it. All right, have fun and enjoy your Earth Day.